A poor girl arrived without shoes at the interview. Millionaire CEO chose her among 25 candidates. Hello everyone. Before we begin today's story, I have a small favor to ask. Please hit subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you never miss our channel's new videos. It's quick, free, and the best way to support us in bringing you more dramatic stories. Your support means the world to us. Where are you watching from? Drop your city or country in the comments below. Thank you very much. Now, let's begin the story. It was a chilly Tuesday morning when Lily, a 25-year-old woman, stood outside the grand glass building, staring up at the towering structure that was about to determine the course of her future. She was holding her worn-out leather bag with shaking hands, the weight of uncertainty pressing down on her. Lily had never imagined herself here, standing before the door of a prestigious firm, her future resting on this one interview. She had grown up in a small apartment with her mother, who had passed away a year ago, leaving her alone to carry the burden of bills, rent, and her dreams of a better life. Her clothes, though neat, were old, her shoes barely held together by thread, and her stomach growled as she waited. This was her chance, the only one she had, to escape the cycle of poverty. As she entered the building, the cool air inside seemed to mock her, as if the luxury around her was a world she didn't belong to. She felt the eyes of the receptionist and the other candidates on her, their polished suits and shiny shoes in stark contrast to her own tired appearance. Her heart raced as she glanced at the others. They all looked so confident, so put together. Her shoes, worn and patched, seemed to make her stand out like a sore thumb. "You can do this," she whispered to herself. "Just focus on the interview, and things will get better." The receptionist smiled at her, clearly seeing the nervousness in her eyes. "You're here for the 10 a.m. interview, right? Please have a seat. They'll call you shortly." Lily nodded and took a seat, feeling every second tick by as she waited for her name to be called. There were 25 candidates in total, all hoping for the same position, all looking as if they were ready to take on the world. She felt small in comparison, unsure of how she could possibly stand out in this sea of professionals. Time crawled by. Finally, her name was called. Her hands shook as she stood and followed the assistant into the interview room. The door opened, and there he was, Mr. Charles Donovan, the CEO of one of the largest tech companies in the country, sitting behind a sleek wooden desk. He was exactly what she had expected, tall, confident, and impeccably dressed in a tailored suit. His eyes met hers as she walked in, and for a moment, there was a flicker of something, curiosity, a hint of surprise. She couldn't tell. "Miss Lily Brooks, right?" he asked in a calm, steady voice. "Yes, sir," she replied, her voice trembling slightly. "Please, have a seat." He gestured to the chair across from him. As she sat down, she felt a strange sense of calm wash over her. For a brief moment, everything felt normal, as though she belonged here, even though deep down, she knew she didn't. The interview began, and Lily did her best to focus on the questions, her nerves slowly fading away as she spoke. But the truth was, she wasn't just applying for a job. She was applying for a life-changing opportunity. Charles listened intently, his gaze never leaving her face. There was something about her that intrigued him. Maybe it was the raw honesty in her voice or the determination in her eyes. She wasn't pretending to be someone she wasn't. She wasn't trying to impress him with empty words or rehearsed answers. She was simply herself. As the interview drew to a close, Charles felt a decision forming in his mind. He had met 24 other candidates that day, all equally qualified, all polished, but none of them had made an impact like Lily had. "Thank you for your time, Miss Brooks," he said, standing up to shake her hand. "We'll be in touch soon." Lily stood up, her heart pounding. She had given everything she had in that interview. But as she left the room, her mind couldn't help but wonder, was it enough? Would she ever get this chance again? "I'm sorry, I've been thinking a lot about today's interview. Could I have done more? Was I nervous? Did I say the wrong things? I just wanted a chance to prove that I'm worth something. I've worked hard for this, more than anyone knows. Maybe this was the moment I've been waiting for, but maybe I'm not enough. Maybe I don't fit in with all these other people. I should have worn better shoes. I should have been more prepared. I can't believe this is happening. I have a real chance now. I've been dreaming of this for so long, but I never thought I would actually make it. I'm not sure how to feel. The excitement, the relief, and yes, a little bit of fear. I've been so focused on making ends meet, on surviving, that I never stopped to think about what comes next. Now it's happening. I have a job. I have a future. I cannot believe this is my life now. Just a few weeks ago, I was wondering if I could even make rent. And now, I'm standing here in the office of the CEO of one of the most successful companies in the country. This isn't just a job. It's the beginning of a whole new chapter. I have to make sure I don't mess this up. I can't believe it. A more senior role? Me? This is everything I've ever wanted. But part of me can't help but feel overwhelmed. I've worked so hard just to get here, but now it feels like the stakes are higher than ever. What if I fail? What if I'm not enough? I've only been here for a few weeks, and already Charles is putting so much trust in me. But I can't back down now. This is my chance, and I'm going to take it. I never imagined I'd be standing here. Not like this. Not with so much at stake. The weeks since I started at Donovan Enterprises have been a blur of hard work, late nights, and constant pressure. I'm finally settling in, getting used to my new responsibilities, but every day still feels like a test. The kind of test that could change everything. But I can't let that scare me. I've come this far. I can't turn back now. I couldn't believe it. The opportunity one had worked so hard for, the leadership position I had dreamed of, was finally mine. But as the days passed, I started to feel the weight of it all. The new responsibilities, the pressure to prove myself, it was all starting to feel overwhelming. Every decision, every move I made, felt like it had to be perfect. I had never felt more like an outsider. The office, once a place of excitement and opportunity, now felt like a world I wasn't sure I belonged in. Every time I walked into a meeting, I could feel the eyes of my colleagues on me. They were watching, waiting to see if I could live up to the role I had been given. I had to keep proving myself. I couldn't afford to fail. But as the pressure mounted, something unexpected happened. The more I worked, the more I realized that it wasn't the expectations of others that I had to worry about. It was my own expectations. I had built this image of myself, this vision of what I thought I should be. And now, I was struggling to live up to it. It wasn't about the work anymore. It was about what I thought I needed to be. I had to remind myself of something important, that I had earned this position. I wasn't here by accident. I wasn't here because of luck. I was here because I had worked for it, because I had proven my worth. But as I sat in my office late one night, staring at the piles of work in front of me, I realized that it wasn't enough to just work hard. I had to believe in myself too. The next morning, Charles Donovan, the CEO who had given me this opportunity, stopped by my desk. I had expected him to check in on the progress of the projects I was handling, but his presence felt different today. "How are you holding up, Lily?" he asked, his voice softer than usual. I glanced up at him, unsure of how to respond. "I'm fine," I said, trying to sound confident, though I could feel the uncertainty in my voice. He studied me for a moment, as if reading between the lines. "You don't have to do this alone, you know," he said, his tone reassuring. "You've got a team. You've got people who believe in you, including me." His words hit me harder than I expected. For the first time since I had started in this new role, I realized that I didn't have to carry the weight of everything on my own. I didn't have to be perfect. I just had to be me. Charles leaned in slightly, his eyes locking with mine. "Lily, you've got the potential to be a great leader. But don't forget that a great leader knows when to lean on others, when to ask for help. You don't have to prove anything to anyone but yourself." I felt a lump form in my throat. It was as if a veil had been lifted, and I could finally see clearly. I had been so focused on proving myself that I had forgotten the importance of working together, of trusting the people around me. I didn't have to do it all alone. "Thank you, Mr. Donovan," I said quietly, feeling a sense of gratitude wash over me. I needed to hear that. Charles gave me a small smile before turning to leave. "You're welcome, Lily. You've got this." As I sat there, watching him walk away, I felt a wave of relief. For the first time in a long while, I felt like I was on the right path. I had always believed that success was about hard work, about pushing through no matter what. But now, I knew that it was also about knowing when to ask for help, about embracing the support of others. And that realization, that weight lifted from my shoulders, was the turning point I needed. The next few weeks passed in a blur of meetings, decisions, and moments of doubt. But through it all, I remembered Charles's words. I knew I didn't have to be perfect. I didn't have to carry everything on my own. And slowly but surely, the confidence I had been searching for began to return. It wasn't about being flawless. It was about being authentic, about trusting in the journey. And as I walked into the office each day, I realized that the person I was becoming was more than enough. I couldn't believe how far I had come. The journey from that first day in the office to now had been nothing short of transformative. The leadership role Charles had given me, the trust he placed in me, had pushed me beyond my limits. I was no longer the nervous girl who walked into Donovan Enterprises with worn-out shoes, unsure of herself. I had earned my place here, and I had earned the respect of those around me. But as much as I had grown, I knew that there was still so much more to learn. And that was exactly what made this journey so exciting. Every day, I was faced with new challenges, new opportunities to prove myself. I had taken on more responsibility than I ever thought possible, but I had risen to the occasion. The work was demanding, but it was also rewarding. I had built a team, and together, we accomplished things that none of us could have done alone. I had learned that leadership wasn't just about being in charge. It was about empowering others, lifting them up, and working together toward a common goal. But there were still moments when doubt crept in. There were times when I wondered if I was doing enough, if I was leading in the right way. Those moments, however, were becoming fewer and fewer. I had found my rhythm. I had found my confidence. One evening, as I sat in my office, reviewing the final details of an upcoming project, I received an unexpected message from Charles. It was short and simple. "Lily, can we talk? I have something important to discuss with you." My heart skipped a beat. What could this be about? I had been doing everything I could to meet his expectations, to prove myself worthy of the opportunity he had given me. I couldn't help but feel a flutter of nerves as I made my way to his office. When I arrived, Charles was standing by the window, looking out at the city skyline. He turned to face me as I entered, and there was a look in his eyes, one that I hadn't seen before. He motioned for me to sit down. "Lily, I've been watching your progress," he began, his voice calm and steady. "You've exceeded every expectation I had when I brought you on. You've proven that you're more than capable, and I believe you're ready for the next step in your career." My pulse quickened. What was he saying? "I'm offering you a promotion," he continued, his words sinking in. "You've earned it. You've shown exceptional leadership skills, and you've proven that you're capable of handling more responsibility. I'm giving you the opportunity to lead a larger team, to take on even bigger projects." I sat there in stunned silence. This was more than I had ever expected. I had worked so hard, and now it was all paying off. The weight of his words settled over me like a blanket, and I could feel the familiar surge of excitement mixed with a touch of fear. This was my chance to take everything to the next level. "I don't know what to say," I finally managed to say, my voice shaky. "Thank you. I won't let you down." Charles smiled. A small, knowing smile that seemed to convey all the trust he had in me. "I know you won't. You've already proven yourself, Lily. Now, it's time to take on a new challenge. I'm excited to see what you do next." As I left his office, I felt a sense of disbelief. This was happening. I was being given a chance to grow even further, to take on more than I had ever dreamed. I walked back to my desk, the weight of the promotion settling in, but also a sense of pride. This wasn't just a job. This was my career, my future, and it was only just beginning. I had worked so hard for this moment, and now it was finally here. The promotion, the recognition, the opportunity to lead even more, it all felt surreal. But as I stood in front of my new office, looking out at the city skyline, I realized that this was just the beginning. There was still so much more to do, so much more to prove. But I wasn't afraid anymore. I had fought for everything I had, and I had earned my place. As I stepped into the office, the weight of the new role settled over me, but in a way that felt right. This was my chance to make a real impact, to build something lasting, not just for the company, but for myself. And for the first time, I knew I was ready. The days that followed were a whirlwind of meetings, decisions, and new challenges. But this time, I faced them with confidence. I knew I could handle whatever came my way. I had the tools, the team, and the mindset to succeed. Every day, I felt myself growing more and more into the leader I had always dreamed of becoming. But even with all the success, I never forgot where I came from. The struggles, the late nights, the self-doubt, they were all a part of me. And every time I looked at the city below, I reminded myself that this journey, this success, wasn't just about reaching the top. It was about remembering the climb and knowing that I had made it, despite all the odds. One evening, After a particularly long day, I received a message from Charles. It was brief, just a simple invitation. Join me for dinner tomorrow. I want to discuss the future. My heart raced at the thought. What could this be about? Had I done something wrong? But when I arrived at the restaurant the next evening, Charles greeted me with his usual calm demeanor. As we sat down to eat, he looked at me, his gaze steady. "Lily," he began, "I've been watching your progress. You've done exceptional work here. But there's something else I want to offer you. I want you to help me shape the future of this company. I want you to take on an even larger role." My breath caught. Larger role? What could he possibly mean? But before I could speak, he continued. "I want you to be part of the board. I want you to have a say in the direction we're heading. You've earned it. You've proven that you're capable of more than just running day-to-day operations. I see you as a future leader of this company." I sat there, stunned. This was beyond anything I had ever imagined. The opportunity to sit on the board, to help guide the company's future, it was a dream come true. And yet, as I sat there, I realized that this wasn't just about me. This was about everyone who had supported me along the way. My team, my mentors, and especially Charles, who had believed in me from the start. I felt a deep sense of gratitude, but also a renewed sense of purpose. I had come so far, but the journey was far from over. "I'm honored, Charles," I said, my voice steady now. "I'll give it everything I have. Thank you for believing in me." He smiled, a proud look in his eyes. "I knew you were the right choice." As I left the restaurant that night, the weight of what had just happened settled over me. This was it. I was on the path I had always dreamed of. But it wasn't just about the position, the title, or the recognition. It was about the impact I could make. It was about using the platform I had earned to help others, to build something meaningful, and to continue to grow, not just as a leader, but as a person. As I looked out at the city once more, I realized that my journey was only just beginning. And this time, I wasn't just hoping to succeed. I was determined to leave a legacy built on hard work, kindness, and the belief that anything was possible if you never gave up.